12 years ago. That was back when I had just turned 30. I was studying abroad in Germany. I was trying to become a researcher instead of a doctor back then. I prefer facing diseases instead of patients. Patients eventually die even if you can't save them for the time being. But excellent research lives forever. I thought that research was a better job. Studying medicine in Germany, I was imagining life like in Mori Oigai's stories, but it didn't turn out to be something that romantic. It must have been because of my verbal skills and personality, but I couldn't get along with the people there or my colleagues. It wouldn't have been troublesome if it was only a personal matter, but I guess it's only natural that it started affecting my work. My human relations grew worse, and I was eventually kicked off an important research project that had been taking part. And until then, it's an embarrassing story. I was given a leisurely post, and I was bored. I got drunk every day and played around. It must have been partly due to the fact that I couldn't do what I wanted and was desperate. I tried many different kinds of pleasure. I'd have been a boring student without any hobbies who had only studied until then. But it wasn't like I could play forever. You need talent, too, to have fun. I realized it. I was empty. Void. I couldn't bear the fact that I was playing every day. So I decided to leave the hospital. I didn't even know what I was going to do after I quit. I imagined that I'd leave the medical world for good, but I didn't mind. I didn't care if I turned into a bum or died in the gutter. Like some trash. I just wanted to get away from the scene. After I quit the hospital, I planned a trip around Europe. I wanted to see the place in detail before I went back to Japan. I thought that I would never return. I went by Vienna, where a wonderful Japanese musician who was the topic of the town. I'd never listened to classical before, but I got curious and decided to go see it. I wanted to see a Japanese person who succeeded overseas, and this person happened to be Amako Kazuki. I used to avoid such Japanese people because I felt a sense of rivalry, but I honestly wanted to support him then. It wasn't probably because I'd given up. But the performance never took place. Do you remember? Amako canceled on the day of the performance. They never announced why, but do you know why?
わかりませんが、確実にアルコールか女性かのどっちかでしょうね。多分その時期なら女性だと思います。
I see. No wonder you couldn't perform. Oh, that's not a double entendre. The cancellation of the performance was announced where the listeners were. They were booing loudly. It was amazing. When I tried to head home thinking that I didn't have any luck, someone else talked to me. He asked me if I was Japanese. I replied yes. He then said that he heard Japanese people were polite, but that Amako was a ridiculous man.
災難でしたね。
I don't care about that. Anyway, from what I saw, Amako must have been doing a lot of things to offend the local people. The man was pretty angry. He said that he'd been unable to hear his performance twice in a row. But I had no connection with Amako, however. I also liked the manners to properly represent the Japanese people. So, Amako didn't seem like a stranger to me. I apologized to him for the time being. He then asked me what I did, so I honestly replied that I was a doctor. He then apologized for his politeness. He seemed to respect doctors. He did introduce himself. I still can't really tell the ages of Western people, but he was much younger than I thought. And he was a student at a music academy. He was almost a generation younger than me. He was interested in Japanese culture. He mentioned words like ukiyo-e and haiku and invited me to a meal so he could hear about Japan. I don't have an average knowledge of Japanese culture, let alone a deep one, so I refused and tried to leave. But he asked me if I wanted to hear Amako's son play the piano. Yeah, this story seems like it's kind of grounded. It's like it's based in reality. It's like most Japanese people are like, most people are like, yeah, I like Japanese culture. And then most Japanese people are like, yeah, it's okay. It's like I don't have like a deep connection with it, so yeah, it's whatever, right? It's like a generation thing. It's a generational thing. It's like most foreigners probably think like, oh, it's like I want to get really involved in the culture, and so they're thinking more along the lines of like older generations, but younger generations is like, yeah, it's like probably not that serious. They're just kind of focused on having fun and not being like too tied down and committed with stuff. Mostly like how most people think nowadays. Current people, millennials, basically. I don't know. Maybe it's different in each society, so I don't know. According to him, Amako-san was playing the piano every day at a nearby dirty restaurant. So what, they had like a D rating or something? We have a D ranking! We are super awesome! He said that he's just a small boy, but his performance is something that would make a student inspiring to become a musician go pale and faint. He said he'd take me there if I talked to him. I nodded back. It'd be strange not to get curious after hearing such a story. It was indeed a dirty restaurant. You couldn't call it a restaurant here in Japan. It was more like a diner. The people eating there were people of that class too. Ooh, wow. People of the lower society. I didn't like the food there either. I'd ordered wine and a goose dish, but it was so terrible that I couldn't eat even half of it.
聖マルティンの季節にいらっしゃったんですね。あそこのガチョウ料理は最悪なんですよ。でもレバーのスープだけは絶品でしたよ。
Rich people food. This is what we're diving into. I'll try it at such an unsanitary restaurant. Okay. I'll try it if such an unsanitary restaurant is still in business. Anyway, I'll talk with the student while we waited for you to come. The people there were starting to get drunk and the place was rowdy since everyone was talking loudly. An Asian boy with a red nose and matching ears was in the restaurant before I noticed. The weather was cold. He paid no attention to the noisy people and sat in front of an old piano in the back. People noticed him and started jeering. He must have known that Amako had canceled his performance that day. I don't think they would have attended that expensive concert, but I think it was fun for them to tease a well-dressed Japanese boy. Their words were so dirty and discriminatory that I felt bad for also being Japanese. But you didn't even change your expression as you started your performance. The student who was with me was really angry too, but he shut his mouth as soon as you started playing. Someone cursed at you while you were playing, and everyone laughed. The student whispered in displeasure and asked why you were playing there. One of the complaints he had about Amako Kazuki was that he left his son playing in such a place. But really, why were you performing at such a place?
あそこの店主の大事な一人娘を父が愛人にしてしまったんですよ。それが発覚した後も父は彼女を返すのを渋り、人質として僕を差し出したんです。
Okay. He sounds like a unique person.
ええ、人間としては完全な破綻者でしょう。ただ彼の音楽は素晴らしいです。
Wait a minute, I have a question. What happened to Kakizaki's voice actor? Because I think he should be reading those songs, not me. Okay. I'd assume so. Or he would have been shunned by society. Anyway, I was also surprised by your performance. I was first amazed at your attitude since you didn't take any heed of all the cursing. You weren't on guard against the jeers, and you flexibly played difficult music using delicate movements. I was listening intently, but I couldn't find any mistakes from his notes. I eventually came to the conclusion that it was stupid to look for mistakes. I don't know a good performance from a bad one, but it was a wonderful performance. It didn't look like you were concentrating on music. It seemed as if the piano was singing without regards to your will. And it seemed you, the one sitting in front of the piano, had your mind on something nobody there could see. Perhaps I felt something so exaggerated because I was mentally defeated at the time. But that's what I felt. I thought that the boy that faced his enemy alone in that situation without showing any concern I'm not sure how it feels saying this in front of the person himself, but I felt a great deal of respect for you, and I was embarrassed for trying to ruin myself for a stupid reason. I returned to Japan and apologized to my father for quitting the hospital. I straightened myself out and diligently worked at this hospital until now. I would not have been a doctor here if I hadn't heard your performance back then. That's how strongly your performance impacted me. Dr. Kakazaki pauses and breathes out.
しかし、今の君はあの素晴らしいピアノを捨ててしまったのだという。なんだか私の感動自体がバカバカしいものだったような気がするよ。あれは勘違いだったのだろうか。
I want to say something, but I can't think of anything appropriate to say. I haven't abandoned the piano, but doesn't change the fact that I can't play like I used to.
できれば知りたくなかったな。君はきっと怠けてしまったのだろう。でなければあんなに人を感動させた技術が簡単に錆びつくことはないはずだ。
Kakazaki closed his eyes.
なんだか不愉快だ。申し訳ないが席を外してくれないか。
I leave as he says.
よりによってこんな時に知ってしまうとは皮肉なものだ。
I hear the doctor's voice from behind me. I head to the school building by myself after dinner. I enter the building through a destroyed wall and turn on the flashlight when Sasaki-san approaches from behind me.
夜の校舎は立ち入り禁止ですよ。
Sasaki-san is staring at me as if to chide me.
すみません。でも用があるんです。
何の用ですか？
You know, it would be too easy to say you, but then that would be highly inappropriate, you know, all things considering.
学校なら音楽室がありますよね。そこにピアノがないかと思って。
Uh-huh.
ああ。
なんだか無償に練習したいんです。ちょっと見逃してもらえませんか？
I really want to practice right now. Really? Really now?
わかりました。
ありがとうございます。
でも、
何ですか？
もしよければ私も連れて行ってくれませんか？私、天子さんのピアノを聴きたいです。
I almost rejected her offer reflexively, even if it's private, having played in front of someone for many years. And I've decided, wait a minute, whoa. Wait a minute, I thought he was, you know when he was like, they were in the little chapel thing earlier in the visual novel? It's like, wasn't he playing for her then? I mean, why is he kind of chickening out? Why is he backing out now? It's like, yeah, I think he played for her before, dude, but you just don't remember it. Or maybe his memory is kind of, I don't know, he's been through a lot of stressful shit, so maybe kind of like forgot about it. But I think he did play for her before. So, and I've decided not to. But I couldn't refuse today. I wanted someone to listen. It's probably because of what Dr. Kakazaki said is lingering in my mind. Yeah. I take my glove off and hold out my hand. She must have been about to give up as she looks surprised. She then smiles and puts her fingers in my hand. The music classroom is in the corner of the third floor. We walk on the cracked hallway floor while putting our hands on the crumbling walls and finally reach the room. We remove the bent door and go inside.
夜の音楽室は階段の定番ですけど、これはいくらなんでもひどいですね。
Sasaki-san mutters while looking at the tables and instruments which are knocked over and ripped pictures of composers. grand piano has slid to the side of the room. I move it away from the wall, place a seat in front of it, and sit down. There's a lock on the lid over the keyboard, but the lid itself is cracked and comes off when I pull it up. It's in bad condition, but the sound isn't that off. I feel the work of a careful tuner. Of a careful tuner. The sound my coat makes concerns me, so I take it off.
弾けそうですね。
I know it back out of words. The keyboard is shining white from the flashlight. Looks like someone's teeth, as if it's smiling at me. And I'm scared. My mental state is not that good right now. I should be playing the piano today. But I can't stop what I've decided to do. I suppress my urge to run away. I mustn't run away! 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 Ah! Do it! Damn it! Remember, kids, don't be like Senji. Oh my god. Not early Senji, but you know, like you could be late, like evolved Senji where he like actually grows a pair. But early Senji and Evangelion, yeah, he wasn't a role model. He was just kinda there in the moment. I suppress my urge to run away and place my fingers on the white teeth which may bite me at any moment. The surface is cold. I quietly breathe in, then breathe out. I take a glance at Sasaki-san, and she's staring at me nervously. I signal with my eyes for her to relax and begin playing the piano. Oh my god, it's Mila Kunis. Oh, Sesame Street. Breathtaking. Wow. Was I can't tear my eyes away from her. Damn it! Must continue novel, but I can't look away. It's like staring into the sun. I mean, it's like you can look, but if you look for too long, you will risk burning the hell out your retinas and must. Damn it! I think I have a thing for Russians. Yeah, okay. Well, moving on. Must. Okay. I'm composed now. Let's continue. The action is a bit too heavy for my fingers, and at first, it feels like I'm riding a bicycle that's out of gear. But I slowly get used to it as I keep playing. The pianists who match their fingers to the piano are second rate. First-rate pianists only play pianos that match their fingers. What? The hell is that? The fuck does that mean? Gee, pianists who match their fingers to the piano are second rate. First-rate pianists only play pianos that match their fingers. It's gotta be like a thing in that community. I'm not sure. I remember my father's words. According to him, it's blasphemy against music to perform when you know that you won't perform your best, but that's for people who play precise performances, and it doesn't concern me right now since my control of the keyboard is clumsy. Using my father's words, I must be below second rate as a pianist. I'm playing Chopin's 12... What? Okay. I'm playing Chopin's 12 Etudes Op 10 from the beginning. It's practice material, but it feels good playing them. Chopin was in frail health, so he used reasonable, gentle music scripts. Etudes are no exception, but it's still a heavy burden on my right hand. My left hand gets bored if it follows the tempo of my right hand, and my right hand screams if it follows my left hand. There's a limit to how much my left hand can support my right. The piano must be stunned at how I'm struggling in front of it, and it gives off tasteless sounds as if it's bored. I fight against my dismay and keep playing with the feeling as if I'm vomiting blood. This is like always. I finish all 12 songs and bring the hopeless time to an end. I take a deep breath. Dude, it's like, even though he's fucking up on the music, it's like to her, she's like, holy shit! To the average person, it's like, holy crap. It's like, I don't even know, this guy's like crippled and he's like playing the shit out of this music. But to like a, you know, like a person like accustomed to that world, and it's like finally tuned, it's like, oh my god, you're playing like absolute shit. Please stop.
すごい上手。本当に右手が怪我してるんですか？嘘なんじゃないですか？
See? You see? She's like, whoa! He's like, you're not at my level. I was playing like shit. Sasaki-san happily praises me. But it doesn't make me happy. I'm glad that she's praising me, but my performance was too miserable. I faced the piano again. I at least wanted to hear a decent performance.
お願いです。弾いてるところを見ないように、あっちを向いていてください。
Oh shit. It's like he's blindfolding her. It's like, Amako, you're a bit of a player here. He's like, please look the other way. I don't want you to see me perform some ludicrous music here.
Eh?
I wait until she looks away before placing my hand on the keyboard again. After I finish playing, Sasaki-san turns around with a stunned look.
どうですか？
これ、さっきと同じショパンのエチュード？
そうです。
でも、さっきと全然違いませんか？曲も演奏も。
そうですか。
もしかしてこれって？
Could it be? Are you the chosen one? It seems Sasaki-san realizes it.
これから商品を2つ弾きます。これを聞けばきっとわかるでしょう。今度は見ていてもいいです。
あ、はい。
I play the piece in front of her. The only thing moving on the keyboard is my left hand. I can feel her eyes open in surprise. I finish playing, and the only sound remaining in the room is the wind.
どうですか？
She's quiet. She's like, I don't have any words to describe what I just heard. Wasn't that god awful? Nah, let me stop.
どうかしました？
It's like, I think she wants you to do it right there on the floor. It's like, was it like a panty dropping performance? Sasaki-san slowly breathes out.
ごめんなさい、ぼーっとしちゃって。これはスクリャービンの左手のための前奏曲と野奏曲ですね。
はい。
じゃあ、さっきのもやっぱり左手だけで弾いてたんですか？
そうです。あれはゴドフスキーが編曲したショパンで、やっぱり左手だけで弾けるやつです。
Yeah, this guy's on a whole nother level, so I'm like, okay. Sasaki-san shakes her head.
信じられませんよ。嘘みたい。片手だけでこんな演奏ができるなんて すごい。やっぱりすごいですよ。なんでそんなのが弾けちゃうんですか？ピアノにどんな魔法をかけたんですか？普通の学校のピアノなのに。
Yukachi, that's called skills. Get some. Sorry, I had to do it. I had to call. I had to put her on blast. It's like, yeah, you're a musician too, but you're not on my level. So I could destroy you with one hand. It's just like people in the fighting game community that can use like a fight stick with only one hand. But, you know, they're not really showing off. They're just kind of, you know, just doing their thing. So Saki-san gently passed the keyboard. Is this another euphemism? Is the keyboard his dick?
やっぱり甘子さんって天才ですよね。人とは違うんだ。
Yeah, but he's being held back by something. Something from his past that he was to run away from. That's why he came to this city. Get away from everything. She murmurs to herself, I can't say anything.
いや、そんなことはないんですが。
A dark regret starts to spread through my chest. I shouldn't have let anyone listen to such a performance. To be honest, I thought I had recovered more than this. Yuka praises me, but it's not something I had in mind. I'm troubled. I want to explain to her, but I can't come up with the right words. I don't know how to put it. Music plays in my head instead of words. If I could perform this, I should be able to better convey my thoughts to her. Wait a minute, am I like a Mako? Say, am I seeing parts of myself in this character? What the hell? This story is weird. I touch the keyboard to play the piano. Then I remember I can't play the piano anymore. It's a terrible contradiction to try to convey the feelings of not being able to play the piano by playing the piano. I doubt my brain. I hang my head and see that the piano is looking at me with pity. I don't want it to look at me. I don't want it to look at me like that.
とにかく楽しんでもらえたようでよかったです。
I place the lid on the keyboard. Oh, it's like he dropped the mic. I place the lid on the keyboard. I move away from the uncomfortable piano and leave the room.